Hello friends! Happy Friday! My name is Lilith and this is House of Tales. As you all know, it is October, or Inktober, a month-long drawing marathon on Instagram. So today we will be working on the fourth theme, freeze. I am sketching out a quick thumbnail here to figure out the big shapes and where I want the characters to go. After that, I go straight into drawing the final forms, but lightly with a pencil. I did not use any reference image for this drawing, which sounds bizarre, but it's because I combined elements from 3 previous drawings I did during my final semester in art school. You see, I've been working on this astrology series, but progress has been slow ever since I graduated since I'm always moving around, I never have a studio space. I don't know if I'm going to use color, but I have a lot of trouble with color because when I work on something seriously, I tend to focus only on the lines, and I feel like color gets in the way. This is the first time I'm filming my personal work. The drawing is very similar to what I would make for my portfolio now, and it's not scheduled for YouTube like my other entries. Usually I will sit down and create something specifically for you guys because I know you are interested in color, paint medium, learning about new techniques, and my usual studio process is pretty weird and not something I would recommend for students who are just starting out with drawing or painting. The figure here is similar to my Libra drawing, especially the angle. So I'm just sort of following the feeling of my pencil here. I have my pencil very sharp and I feel like it does the drawing for me. Ideally, I would use a mechanical drafting pencil, but unfortunately I didn't pack that and it's in California, so this one would have to do. I'm drawing out the lines exactly as I would ink them to save myself time later. It takes a lot of concentration to hold the pen at a precise angle and pressure, and I wouldn't want to worry about the drawing component on top of all of that. I don't draw figures often, but when I do, their faces are smaller than my thumb. I like the line ratio at this scale actually, and I feel like it's just enough to obscure unnecessary details. For example, her eyes are just scribbles, but they look very wispy to me, and this is something that I do often. So I hope to scan this in and maybe color it digitally. I would like to turn it into a print for our online shop, pyperbleu. That's why this video will only cover the pen and ink portion of the drawing. I might do some ink washes on a separate sheet of paper and scan that in as well to compile through Photoshop. Recently, I've been working with Yupo paper, which is plasticky, but it's designed for wet mediums. Yupo holds ink in an interesting way. It deepens the saturation, but flattens out blacks unless you seal with a gloss medium. I like combining colored pencil and acrylic ink on Yupo paper. I created an original character, or OC, for the first time ever. I put my OC in this drawing. Their name is Rai, and they practice witchcraft using the umbrella as a staff. I was thinking maybe the woman behind them was their master, and that's why she also has an umbrella behind her. I'm using the circle shape to emulate light rays as well as the silhouette of an open umbrella. To make the drawing bigger, I just scan in at a high DPI. I usually go for 450, and then I can touch up on Photoshop and I know that it will print out large. All of my materials can be found in the description link below if you're interested. For the pen and ink, I'm using a micron pen at 0.03 millimeters. 0.03 is still a little thick for this drawing, I would have preferred a dip pen because I'm going for sort of an etching effect. For the theme freeze, I did not want to do something too literal, like ice cubes or snow. I wanted more story behind the drawing, and I immediately thought of The Snow Queen, a Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tale. It's one of his longest stories and most famous. The Snow Queen is a tale told in 7 stories, and it's a story about love between friends. Because it is quite lengthy, I can only offer a summary for you, but it goes something like this. The devil, in the form of an evil troll, has made a magic mirror that distorts the appearance of everything it reflects. The devil, who is headmaster at a school, takes the mirror and his pupils throughout the world, delighting in using it to distort everyone and everything. They attempt to carry the mirror into heaven in order to make fools of the angels and God, but the higher they lift it, the more the mirror shakes with laughter, and it slips from their grasp and falls back to earth, shattering into billions of pieces, some no larger than a grain of sand. The splinters are blown by the wind all over earth and gets into people's hearts and eyes, freezing their hearts like blocks of ice and making their eyes like the troll mirror itself, seeing only the bad and ugly in people and things. Years later, a little boy Kai and a little girl Gerda live next door to each other in the garrets of buildings with adjoining roofs in a large city. They could get from one's home to another's just by stepping over the gutters of each building. The 2 families grew vegetables and roses in window boxes placed on the gutters. Gerda and Kai have a window box garden to play in, and they became devoted to each other as playmates. They were as close as if they were siblings. Kai's grandmother tells the children about the Snow Queen, who is ruler over snow bees, snowflakes that look like bees. As bees have a queen, so do snow bees, and she is seen where the snowflakes cluster the most. Looking out his frosted window one winter, Kai sees the Snow Queen, who beckons him to come to her. Kai draws back in fear from the window. By the following spring, Gerda has learned a song that she sings to Kai. Because roses adorn the window box garden, the sight of roses always reminds Gerda of her love for Kai. On a pleasant summer day, splinters of the troll mirror get into Kai's heart and eyes. Kai becomes cruel and aggressive. He destroys their window box garden. He makes fun of his grandmother. He no longer cares about Gerda, since everyone now appears bad and ugly to him. The only beautiful and perfect things to him now are the tiny snowflakes that he sees through a magnifying glass. The following winter, Kai goes out with his sled to play in the snowy market square and hitches it to a curious white sleigh carriage, driven by the Snow Queen, who appears as a woman in a white fur coat. Outside the city, she reveals herself to Kai and kisses him twice. Once to numb him from the cold, and the second time to make him forget about Gerda and his family. A third kiss would kill him. She takes Kai in her sleigh to her palace. The people of the city concluded that Kai died in the nearby river. Gerda, heartbroken, goes out the next summer to look for him and questions everyone and everything about Kai's whereabouts. She offers her nude red shoes to the river in exchange for Kai. By not taking the gift at first, the river lets her know that Kai did not drown. So Gerda climbs into a boat and the river carries her away to start her on the right path. Gerda next visits an old sorceress with a beautiful garden of eternal summer. The sorceress wants Gerda to stay with her forever, so she causes Gerda to forget Kai and causes all the roses in her garden to sink beneath the earth, since she knows that the sight of them will remind Gerda of her friend. However, a while later, while playing in the garden, Gerda sees a rose, on the sorceress's hat, then remembers Kai and begins to cry. Gerda's warm tears raise one bush above the ground, and it tells her that it could see all the dead while it was under the earth, and Kai is not among them. So she asks the other flowers in the garden, but they only know a single story each, which they sign to her. Realizing that they cannot help her find Kai, Gerda flees the garden of eternal summer and realizes that it's already autumn. She had wasted a lot of time and has no warm clothes to wear. Gerda flees and meets a crow who tells her that Kai is in the princess's palace. Gerda goes to the palace and meets the princess and the prince, who is not Kai but looks like him. Gerda tells him her story, and they provide her with warm clothes and a beautiful coach. While traveling in the coach, Gerda is captured by robbers and brought to their castle, where she befriends a little robber girl, whose pet doves tell her that they saw Kai when he was carried away by the Snow Queen in the direction of Lapland. The captive reindeer, Bay, tells her that he knows how to get to Lapland since it is his home. The robber girl frees Gerda and the reindeer to travel north to the Snow Queen's palace. They make 2 stops. First, at the Lap woman's home, and then at the Finn woman's home. The Finn woman tells the reindeer that the secret of Gerda's unique power to save Kai is in her sweet and innocent child's heart. When Gerda reaches the Snow Queen's palace, she is halted by the snowflakes guarding it. She prays the Lord's Prayer, which causes her breath to take the shape of angels, who resist the snowflakes and allow Gerda to enter the palace. Gerda finds Kai alone and almost immobile on a frozen lake, which the Snow Queen calls the Mirror of Reason, also on which her throne sits. Kai is engaged in the task that the Snow Queen gave him. He must use pieces of ice like a Chinese puzzle to form characters and words. If he is able to form the word the Snow Queen told him to spell, she will release him from her power and give him a pair of skates. Gerda runs up to Kai and kisses him, and he is saved by the power of her love. Gerda weeps warm tears on him, melting his heart and burning away the troll mirror splinter in it. As a result, Kai bursts into tears, which dislodge the splinter from his eye. He remembers Gerda, and the two dance around so joyously that the splinters of ice Kai had been playing with are caught up into the dance. When they stop dancing, the splinters fall down to spell eternity, the very word Kai was trying to spell. Kai and Gerda leave the Snow Queen's domain with the help of the reindeer, the Finn woman, and the Lap woman. They meet the robber girl, and from there they walk back to their home. Kai and Gerda find that everything at home is the same, and that is they who have changed. They are now grown up, and are also delighted to see that it's summertime. Thank you so much for listening. This process video has come to an end, but the piece is not finished. I'll either wrap it up in my own time, or maybe I can make another video documenting and talking about my editing and finishing process. I'm not too sure yet because I don't know if that's fun to watch for you guys. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this, and I hope that maybe watching me draw straight lines for like 10 minutes is soothing in some way, because it was very soothing to draw. Have a wonderful day or night, and I will see you soon.